and I work at UX is Fine as a technical designer. And today, we are going to make a quick combat log as requested by our community. So we have a little Discord community, and here was an image in our forum for stream requests, and it was like, can you do this combat log? Inflicted pawn. Okay, so we'll keep that as a reference. Let's actually open the link for that. Close this down. Let's save this image. Let's just shove this in our working files. So I guess streaming whips will do. Combat log, and then I'll go and open that one up. Oh great, it really just opens it as a doesn't even open it as a PNG, just opens it as a web UI. That's not cool. Streaming whip. This is it a PNG? No, it's a Chrome document. I don't really want a Chrome document. Tell you what, we will just take a picture. Pop that picture open. Okay, we've got our picture. Awesome. Let's actually import that image and create a new project to work from. So let's go content, new folder, episode 04. So for anyone wondering, I do these live streams every Monday through Thursday in the mornings. It might change in the future. It might be in the afternoons. It might be one day on, one day off, longer game devs, or a whole week of streaming a game prototype or game jam. In fact, there are a few game jams coming up where I would like to be able to do that, but we will see. But yeah, join the Discord community and post up your requests, and I'm happy to stream them. If you're in here right now, you can always ask me questions as I go. So yeah, hit the subscribe button if you want to follow along on these streams, on this journey of game dev. I've been doing this for 10 years, so a lot of this stuff is fairly fast. Sometimes we do experimental stuff, and the last stream we did something quite experimental. But let's crack on with this one. So I'm going to do something just real prototypey. Let's just go widget underscore combat log. And we're just going to create a new level. New level, it will be an empty level. Let's create that, save this. We'll jump into episode 4. We'll just call this, actually, what have we been calling that? Map. So map underscore 04, maybe? Or is it episode 04? EP04. Okay. Let's keep our naming conventions. And just straight in our level blueprint this time. I'm not going to make a HUD class, I'm not going to make a game mode. I'm just going to create this widget. And I'm just going to create the combat log and add it to the viewport. And so this is just for testing. You might set up your widgets in a different way. You'd usually do it through a HUD. We'll close up all my other tabs. I'm going to try and go as quickly as we can. Maybe we can do this in 45 minutes. So here we go. In fact, I'm going to message the person who pinged about this. Let's have a look. So in my combat log, I'm going to create a vertical box, full screen. I'm going to create an image and an overlay. And I'm going to replace that vertical box with a horizontal box because I picked the wrong thing. And then we're just going to fill and center those. I actually want my image on the left and my overlay on the right. And then in here, we're going to import our image that we had saved. So in my pictures screenshots folder, I actually have a screenshot of this. So let's bring this in. This is from a game that I played over the weekend called Backpack Battles, and after the battle you get this combat log. I think you can watch the combat log as it plays out, but we're just going to be producing a data element that represents this, and so we can break this down pretty easily. Let's bring this over to the right here. and then we'll create another new UI for a combat log entry. So go widget, blueprint, widget underscore combat log entry. And that's what we're going to populate our log with. And we can see it's a horizontal box, so we start with that. It's a horizontal list of elements. So we start off with our horizontal. Then the first thing we have is text block, and this will be our TB underscore time. So let's get this on the left hand side of the screen. Open it, we'll go, oh god, it's a little bit difficult to do this. Let's go desired here. Bring this over, right. So, in fact, what might be easier is if we go like this, bring this over, and then pick, we have an image somewhere. Let's grab the image. Actually, just put this on the right side of the screen. This is what we're, oh, this is what we're making. This is really awkward to control, apparently. Wow, this is just awful. Okay, let's try it one more time. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's try that. Third time's a charm. Can I zoom in? Okay, so we're zoomed in. We're gonna actually bring this over a bit so we have a little bit more space. Cool. Okay, so we're doing the combat log entry. Let's put some fake data in. So like 118. Cool. Now, in order to have this all uniformly aligned, what I want to do is have a width for each of these items. So the minimum desired width of this just needs to be long enough that when this is like saying something like 20 or 21, it doesn't actually move the data elements here. You can see here that it actually does move in and out. I'm not a massive fan of that. So let's go with this. This is our TB time. Then we've got an element here, which is going to be our combat or TB combat text. Oops. Actually goes at the top here. Make sure all of these are variables as well. So in our TB combat text, we've got something like inflicted 1, and then you can have like, apparently you can then have like damage, or you can have like an icon. And so this may actually need to be rich text in this one's case, because what rich text allows us to do, if we go in here and be like rich text block underscore combat info, we have to define like a style set for this. But I think we could just come in first and just be like dealt for damage. You can see here we don't have a text style, so we need to go create that. So for that, we need to, I think it might be miscellaneous. Is that text? Rich. So maybe instead we just create a miscellaneous data table. Rich. So we have here rich text icon data, rich text style row. So we'll go for that DT rich text for combat log, I guess. And so by default, we'll create a new row. We'll call this B, I guess, for body. And the font will be just Roboto, and it will be white text. So now back in our combat log entry, what we do is I think we just type B. Oops. B, and then at the end we do slash, and we put in our rich text. So now you can see that's in there. Next we need actual icon data. I can't remember how you do this one. Decorator. Can we add one of these? Just to find out what this is. new rich text block decorator. So we'll just do like decorator text 1, and the class defaults of this are empty. It doesn't have any overridable functions. This is a rich text block decorator that I don't know how that works, so we won't use that. Let me just go and Google quickly how you enter a icon. Rich text icons for UMG. Understanding rich text icons. Rich text, rich text image. Okay, cool. Let's do that quickly. So I am. Hey, what's up? Like your videos, I'm learning quite a bit. Yeah, thanks, Nefarious. I'm really glad. The whole idea is, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I've got a little bit of learnings to share, and I am enjoying teaching that out and enjoying the process, learning some things that I don't know. Don't know what you don't know. So we learn some things on the way together, and you get to see the process. And the real main goal is to get noticed for doing these things quickly on stream, not like pre-recording a video for 4 hours and then cutting it out, like just doing it live, hitting the problems, and then showing you how I work through them. And on the way we pick up some nice things like, you know, oh, you shouldn't do this here, you should turn this off, like here's some nice editor functionality as well. So yeah, rich text blocks right now. I'm just looking through this video here. So let's throw this up. This is a video that I'm doing right now. Look at this. Let's create a combat log. So this guy creates a rich text row style. He picks his rebuttal. He creates danger and warning. Welcome to Leaf Branch Games. Cool. Beware the wolves in the forest. Yeah, so you can do all this stuff. Then he creates a rich image row data table. And so he has an image here. I'm going to need some images. So just bear with me while I go and source some images. In fact, this is my project. So I'm not in 5.5, so I can't just import from Fab. But I am going to import from somewhere. So we'll just go icons, category all. We're just going to bring in some like fantasy icon packs or something. I've got this mega pack here. Let's try the mega pack. So back here, I know I now need to make a data table for rich image row here. So we'll go dt underscore rich image combat. I'm gonna create a new handle here, and we'll just call this like, call it death, and we're just gonna copy these. So death. We got like sight of some kind. We've got teeth. Oh, it's called a vampire, I guess. We got luck, I suppose. That looks like luck. Cool. And so each of these has a brush. Brush has an image. Let's go find some images. I did just import a bunch. So I don't know where that has appeared, or if it's going to appear. It looks like my Unreal Engine is already hanging. Mobility animations. What's this? Must have been from another prototype I was doing. We do have an input prompts pack, but that's not super helpful. Sadly, my fab is hanging, so we're just going to go to game icons net, and we're just going to pull some game icons from there. So this is a handy little thing. It's like attribution based. So my attribution is live here. It's gameicons.net because I'm not actually shipping this. And so we'll just take some icons from here. So we'll be like, oh yeah, we got combat, we got snaky thing, popular ones with random colors. We've got of the dinosaur in the helmet. So let's save these all as PNGs. And then we'll just import those into our folder. So we'll just put this art. And then if I go over to my downloads, just grab these in. We've got 4 icons. In order to get these behaving correctly, we'll go to Asset Actions and Edit Property Matrix, and we'll just take a look through these settings. So we're looking for like compressions. So we've got this default one here, it's user interface. We've got a texture grouping here, which I'm going to use simple average. I also sometimes use unfiltered if I'm doing like pixel art. And then here we've got a group called UI. So if we save that now, our PNGs should be see-through, which of course they aren't. They aren't see-through by default, I don't think. Let's find out if these are see-through. Let's go here and we'll just add an image. Just throw that in there. And dinosaur? No? Okay. We'll just grab it like that and then throw it in. And yeah, it's massive and it's not see-through. So that's no good. Did my thing import? No. So, I mean, that's a great example of using that website, and it just immediately did not work. Interesting. Yeah, so I mean, we're just gonna get rid of that and we'll delete these because those are useless to us. Delete those from my downloads folder because they are not helping me. And then we just need some icons. Let's just add a different pack of icons. I just need 1 pack of icons. Trying another pack. Complete. Okay, cool. That one actually completed. So here we have some enhanced RPG spells. This is good enough. So let's go in here. We've got death. Let's find something that looks like death. Skull, you'll do. We'll make sure that these are all clearly different. So we need something to do with eyes on this one, because this one's going to be sight. Yeah, not always easy when you're using a pack. Not always easy. But I guess it doesn't majorly matter. We'll just make sure that they're like different colors, right? So maybe we'll just change the name of it. So here we'll take this one and we'll plug this in, and we'll actually just call this poison. We got vampiric, so let's take a look for something a bit blood themed. That kind of looks cool. Throw that in there, and then we've got luck. So we're looking for something a little bit green themed. So we'll take this one. Actually, we already had poison, so maybe we should pick something else. Yeah, we had green for poison instead of purple, which was probably not smart. Let's just do this one, and we'll just call this heal or something. Okay, so now we have 4 of those. So back to our video. Okay, an advert. Get another advert. I don't install ad blocker because, of course, this is against the rules. Okay. I did need a decorator class. But just to rewind that a little bit, I want to see what he wrote in here. So it's like image ID equals root. So just as our example log entry here, we want to add image ID equals the name of the thing / this. And so that's obviously not showing anything yet. And also I did it wrong. Yeah, so that may not work just yet. And then he goes and makes a decorator, rich text block image decorator, blueprint class, rich text block image decorator. So it was called image deco _1. And it has an image set. We'll drop that in. And then in the decorators, you do add it. Yeah, so I was right. Image deco 1. Let's get rid of the other decorator that we had. Yeah, so now we've got a little image here. So that's kind of cool. What I'm a little bit like wary on is the spacing here. Oh, that's much better. Although if I just want like one space in here, yeah, I can get just one space in there. Okay, so we've got that portion done. Yeah, we can also see that sometimes you get the icon inside, but now that we know how to like organize this stuff, we could always organize the next part however we want to achieve this goal. But we do have a, well, it is another rich text block. So this is combat detail. And so in this one, it's wrapped, and sometimes it just says like what the item was. So we'll just say like sword. For example, and then of course it needs to be /body, and then just end, and then just end that. So that's cool. It does have a little bit of padding, so I'll add padding like directly in here. So that's cool. Again, for this one, sometimes it could be quite long. I'm going to make sure it's sort of always say 400 units long, and maybe that would change based on language as well. So we should definitely wrap this text, because based on language this might want to drop down, and we might actually want this to be a specified size, but we'll define the specified size based off of the parent panel. And then we have sword. I don't think we should actually have a gap. I've decided against that now. So obviously here we can see it doesn't drop down, but if it did, where would sword sit? Would it sit at the top or at the bottom? I'd say it would sit at the bottom. So we'll hit that. That just means that if for any reason this was multiple lines, so if we were to say it was like this, then our UI would read like so. Okay. So we have an entry. I'm going to wrap this with a border. And we'll just make that, we'll give it a little bit of padding. Whoa, it's a bit too much padding. Give it a little bit of padding. We'll give it a little bit of color. So it'll be like 0.1, that'll do. And now we just need to fill we'll just call this combat log HUD, and then I'm actually going to make a combat log, and we're going to fill a vertical scroll or a scroll box with a bunch of faked data. So widget underscore actual combat log in this case. Oh, great. I have some, so I can't name this to combat log because I already had something called combat log. Yeah, there's no asset called combat log. If we go down to other filters and check out our redirectors, you'll notice that there's this little redirector here. And what this does is it tells the original, in this case, map or level blueprint where I'm creating the widget and adding it to the screen. It's telling that there used to be something here, but now we're pointing to this. So there's a little string somewhere that says, if you're looking for widget combat log, now actually look for this. And I don't actually want this, so there's two ways to fix it. You can right click it and update the redirector, or you can right click the folder, which is my preferred method, because usually you rename a lot of things at once. Right click on here, update these redirectors, bam. So now save everything. Now we can actually do widget combat log. So that's cool. Then from here, this is where we're going to spoof a bunch of data. So let's create a scroll box. Let's wrap that with a border. And let's give it like 10 padding, let's say. And let's give this a nice sort of like, maybe a color like this. And if I hit play quickly, apparently I have a character, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, we actually want like game mode base, I guess. Cool. We actually do need a game mode, I've realized. So let's just make a game mode. Let's copy this game mode. Copy. The reason I'm copying this one is because it's already set up with a couple of things. Actually, turns out it would be nice if it had this HUD. So let's just go and do all this. So we got this, we got this. Let's make this our game mode for this level, GP4. We'll go here, we want this HUD. We will open the level blueprint because earlier on we were like, oh, we're going to be cheeky and do it this way. We're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it through the HUD. So we're going to add this to our viewport, do all this good stuff here. All we're doing in this class is adding something to the viewport and setting up the mouse inputs for the player. So now when we hit play, got my mouse. I should have had something on the left here, but of course I forgot to actually put it into my combat log here. So we have a overlay on the left side, and we're going to add our combat log here. We'll just go full screen. Maybe we'll give it some padding, like so. So now when we hit play, we have this like temporary combat log that we're going to mimic some sort of stuff on the left, on the right there. Okay, so closing everything else down, we've done our combat log entry, but we do need to set the data that goes into each of these. So this is rich TB combat detail, this is rich TB combat info, and this is TB time. So let's make a struct that's going to represent the data of a combat log entry. So if I go to blueprint struct, we'll go f underscore combat log data. And so there's a couple of things that represent what a combat log entry has, which first is time, second is info, last is details. Just because I can't be able to pick different names right now, I guess this would be like causer, and this would be description or something. So time, well, time in this case is like seconds, so we'll just use an integer. And then for description we'll use text, which could mean that we might localize it eventually. And then causer is also just going to be text. Now we're not going to bring in the formatting of these brackets. This is going to be done within our widget. So let's go make sure that that's sorted. This particular widget, the combat log entry, when we construct 20 of these, we want to feed it the data as it comes in. So that means that this needs to have combat data. which is that struct that we just made. So now we use combat data, we click the eye and we click expose on spawn. Now we can get this data and break it, get our different UI, our various UI, and we will get TV time as well. We will now set text on these. But what we can do with time is time from seconds. You can do from seconds. And so this will give us a time span, which we could imagine that there's a battle that happens for an hour, and there may very well be. But in this case, I'm just going to say that there's probably just minutes and seconds. So we'll go to text with this minutes, and I always want it to have 2 integers because I don't like that this is like 2. We're going to do actually no. We'll go with the 1. That's fine. For the seconds, we will do 2. You can see here 0, 3. So we'll do 2 there. Then we can format some text to append those together. So let's just go min dot sec, or m dot s if you like. Minutes, seconds. So that is the text field for our time. And the from seconds is here. Apparently it should have been a float, but it's not a float. And I suppose it does need to be a float because things can happen very much within microseconds, and so or macro, or whatever you call them, milliseconds. So with that in mind, let's actually fix up this text block, because we are going to need the nano, I guess it's called, because this is like 1 second. You could do a couple of things. If this is more than 0, then let's do a selector. If the minutes are more than 0, then we'll use minutes, seconds, milliseconds. So we'll actually just change all of this to m.s.mm. Oops. So minutes, god damn it. Right. Minutes, seconds, and then I don't know if this is the right thing. If this isn't the right number, you can also get time span 1 or as time span. Oh, that's interesting. I just want a break time span. Yeah, we'll actually use this other one because I don't know what fraction nano is. So we're going to use this time span. We've got a selector here, and what this just says is if there are minutes, then show the minutes. And if there are not, then we'll do a just seconds, milliseconds. So we'll plug that in. Very good. So I'm going to actually collapse this to a function. That's not important. I mean, you could, but you don't really need to. I'll at least comment it. So this is time. And then we have 2 more elements that we're going to fill. And so one is the details. We'll actually rename these. So this is, this is combat info, and this is combat causer. Let's do causer first, because that one's a little bit easier. So this is just set text. We're going to format this. We're going to use those brackets. So it's this bracket, and then causer. And then bracket again. So now the causer text is just wrapped with the bracket there. So that can go in. We'll wrap this up. This is causer. Easy. And then the last one is combat info. Now this one Well, firstly, this doesn't have any. Let's look at the cursor quickly. The cursor can be an icon. It can also just be text. Now, if it's going to be an icon, I'm probably going to pump in the already formatted image ID of what type of damage it was. Now, how do we know what type of damage that was? In a real game, for this, I'd be using the attribute system from the gameplay ability system, and I would have like a series of tagged types of damage and status that can happen, and that would map to those IDs from the data table of images. For this demo, I am just going to plug in one of the 4 random as the cursor, and it'll either be an icon or it'll be a name. And so when it is a name, it needs to be formatted. We'll say that it needs to be formatted before it comes in, and so that allows this to also work fine. So set text here, and I'm just going to use the description. It's just description. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's our combat log entry. We've got our combat log actual thing here. We've got our scroll box, which we are now going to fill. So one thing you should always do is just scroll back, scroll box, combat log, name it, because when you get bugs and errors and stuff, it does come up in the log as just scroll box 64 couldn't do something. And so when you name these things, it makes it a lot easier to debug, especially on bigger projects. Okay. So next up, we're going to just spoof a bunch of data. So we'll just call this generate test data. We're going to do a for loop, and we'll just make like 50 elements, let's say. And for each element, we're going to create a widget. It's going to be an entry, and it's going to get added to our scroll box. Add child to our scroll box. What I like to do here is actually cast this to scroll box and set the horizontal alignment to fill, so it actually fills the space fully. And based on that information, we should actually go and double check in our UI here if we're custom and we're doing this. Is this actually filling in any meaningful way? And it kind of is. Like it's going to fill as little as it needs, or in some cases as much. You could do some more with this, but we'll leave it there. So to determine the damage type, as we're logging this combat data through the actual round, this widget would actually have probably an array of different things that this caused, because it might be the case that your weapon or damage dealer or your healing did like 2 things at a time. It added some holy attribute, and it also added some healing, and it also happened to siphon blood from the enemy. So you might actually have a drop down of like several things that happened. You can actually see that here. If you were going to do that, then you would have another struct that's like a nested combat log, and you would have several combat logs in there. You could also add a variable to this that is an enum of the damage type. So we know there's 4 damage types. Let's actually create an enum quickly just to show this. So we'll go e_status, for example. I would do this with tags, really, like gameplay tags, if I was doing this properly. But this is a nice way of doing it. So I think we had death, poison, poison. I can't remember the other 2. D2 rich, text image, poison, vampire. Let's just take these, vampire and heal. I would do this with tags, because then I could just map the tags to the images. But I don't. I mean, do I have a container? Can I do a gameplay tag container? I can do a gameplay tag. Let's just do tags. Let's do it the way we would like to do it if this was actually my thing. So we're going to make a combat log here. Got member 12. That's not good. Let's go resave this widget. All that. Go back to our combat log. Refresh this. Refresh this. Oh, I guess I didn't name it. Yeah, okay. So it's status tag, I guess. And so yeah, you could have an array of this, and that would be fine. Compile all these up. Make this. Okay, and so time is going to be a variable that just progressively increases for our test. So we'll add a range. Random float in range from like 0.1 to 1.5. And we'll set this time here. So every single time we add a combat log entry for these 50 entries, we're faking time progression, so that's cool. So obviously you would log that throughout your round as things happen. The description, I guess we need like an array of fake text. So we'll come in here, texts, and so this is just going to be something that we randomly pick from. Random item. Cool. And so in here I'm just going to add a bunch of entries. We'll just say inflicted 1 and then we've got this gameplay tag, right? So that's actually a bit of a problem. Let's not do it for now. Let's just make this a little bit quicker because we're running out of time. So what we got? We got what? Inflicted 1 death. Dealt 1 damage. Oh, it'd be really nice to format this as like a random number of these, but yeah, let's do it. Format text, and then we'll do type of damage. We'll do amount, and then we'll do status, I guess. So here we'll go types, and then we'll go statuses. Obviously, this is just all like data entry at this point. You could do this in a lot of different ways. Status types, right? So one thing that we're going to do is put our B in for our main text, and then we're going to slash that here. And then for our status, we're going to do image ID equals, and then it will be one of those potential IDs slash. Let's go back to our combat log entry. We did write that in here, so we'll just make sure that this is actually correct. We'll do a select text here, random bool. Or rather, I guess, well, status. No, because it's just going to be status. So it just goes in here. For our statuses, let's just have 4, and then we'll just have some normal ones. So we'll have 4 like this. This will be poison. I can never remember what I wrote in that table. Every single time. Rich text. Combat. Poison, vampire, heal. So this is vampire. This is heal. And then if it's not one of these, then it's a body text for just like damage. And then it could be like, actually it's just going to be damage, I guess. So this is why I was thinking of doing a random bool, because if it's this random bool or this random ball, and this is our statuses, and so we just don't have anything but statuses in here. That sets us up there, and then amount we just go like random int in range, and we'll do from like 1 to 4 or 6 or something. So that does that, and then we have our causer, which we could use the same logic if we had if we wanted to do like damage causes here. We would do the same kind of thing like this, but instead what we're going to do is we're just going to select it straight from a causer array, and we're just going to come up with a couple of random items. And so the causer is also a rich text block. So we'll go broom, we'll go frying pan, we'll go splinter. The last item that can really do us some serious damage is a frog. So we just random from there. And so we've created a bunch of these. This, we can go on to event pre-construct, and we can actually just see this happening immediately. Generate test data, compile that, go into our designer. You'll see that we have a bunch of stuff generated. It didn't actually plug any of the data in, which is annoying. Let's hit play. And so you can see like a bunch of the text broke, and we've got some quite large numbers in here. So let's go fix a few of these things. When we're doing our time text, we don't want this maximal to be any bigger than 2 for the number on the left. So we're missing some text, and then we've got 2, and then like a bunch of text. So inflicted 1, death 1, not good. Causer just comes in as causer. Let's have a look. Click our causer here. We've got this. We've got an image block. Got some basic text. Causer didn't. No, that's description. Sorry. Yeah, causer comes in here. Okay, so now we're just looking at our generative data. So we've done something wrong. B/ and then image. Oh right, yeah. So this is no good. So what we need to do is just status, and then the types. Yeah, we've got like inflicted, dealt, siphoned, delivered. could be whatever, right? I guess you've got a gain. In some cases, these things, obviously the data coming in is going to come from some kind of ability or some kind of class that's like, this class gains, this class regenerates, this class does this. And so all of your combat items would have their own strings anyway. And I'd have them all as part of a table. So here we're going to go this, / this. Compile that, see if that now looks a little bit nicer. Yeah, so interestingly we got some stuff on the left and right that's not good. I guess it's the brackets. And that's coming from here. So let's just go B/. Go look at our combat log here. Now this isn't happy. You can't wrap multiple conditions in there, so that's annoying. But what you can do is you can put a dash after each. So you just to clean this up, we'll just be like, yeah, it's something like this. Throw this back into our combat log. Yeah, okay, so we're starting to get inflicted 1 death, 2 this. It's a little bit strange. 2 damage. Right, so in our combat log, yeah, this is also wrapped, and we didn't really want it to wrap. So that's annoying. How do you fix that? I always forget how you fix that. I think in here you would, yeah, this horizontal box, generally speaking, yeah, you just want it to be fully aligned. Time. Combat log, it's just auto. It's because it's wrapping, and so what you can do when you have this sometimes is you can just say, oh, only wrap after 400 units. If you're going to wrap, like explicitly wrap after 400. So that should clean up some of these errors here. Let's go. Let's see, we're still wrapping early. Maybe we turn auto wrap off. Yeah, okay, so now we've got this nice line. Got our little images in here. It should be random. Yeah, it is random and it does say damage, but then it still puts the image in, which I find interesting. Where's my, let's close a lot of this stuff down. Go to the combat log. Splinter. Rock. So these are the causers. And sometimes the causer, the causer is always just an item. In this case, I didn't do the other thing. And then we've got like inflicted 6, and then there's this massive space, and then like the next item. And the reason for that is because we've got a space in here. I think. No, we did want that space. We did want that space. That space is good. This space is bad. Hey, there we go. So now we've got that, but we do want to put a space before. It's if you put a space between 2 definitions for the rich text, like if you put it here, then you get these like tabbed big spaces, which you don't want. So now when we hit play, we have like a combat log. It's half the time missing the first text, like inflicted here. So I want to know why that's happening. We've got types. We've got 5 types. It should just random and throw type in here and then just create this. So I don't know why, like status is fine. Types are fine. Inflicted, dealt, siphoned, delivered. There's no reason why when this rich text comes in, it comes in blank. There's no major reason why that would be doing that I can see. But it is definitely happening. And then we're getting inflicted 1 death, 6 damage. Inflicted 1 death, 6 damage. That is also obviously wrong. But the time works really nicely. And now we've got all of our causers. We've got all of our damage types as causers. So something's really messed up. Let's compile this. We'll go to our combat log entry. We'll compile this. We'll refresh everything here. Let's hide everything we don't need. Maybe something changed in engine versions, but this should be fine. Maybe we'll just move these. I mean, I don't know why this would do anything, but it does make me feel a little bit better, because now it's time, info, cursor. Close that down, get our combat log. If we hit play, we just get a bunch of empty data. We throw this in, we get a random cursor, and we get a random type status with a bool that says damage. What if we just plug this into status? We don't get any. Got one down here. Wow, this really doesn't work here. Type. Mount. I'm gonna go to text with this. Which is one death. Nothing. Wow. Why would that be so broken? It's an array. Maybe the defaults are in here somehow. Let's expose these. Feel like it's like some caching. Yeah, you see, it's cached. I knew it. It's cached even though it shouldn't have been cached. So that's an Unreal bug. So now everything will work fine. Okay, so we delivered 6 brooms, six death brooms. We inflicted 3 healing frying pans. We siphoned 2 vampire splinters and dealt 1 poison splinter. So from here, you know, you could do whatever this red and white means. You could obviously fill it with data that is actually meaningful, that comes from actual actions that took part in the game. But you do have a log, and that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So I hope that answers some questions around. Someone asked, a friend of mine actually asked, like, oh, this combat log here is pretty cool. How would you do that? And this is how you would start doing that. And that makes the end of this episode. I'm going to be back in about 10 minutes for another episode. I haven't decided what it's going to be yet, so stay tuned to find out. It will be fun. I might go back to doing the other portion of this, which I was playing with. Just jump into the map here. Close this stuff down. I was previously playing with this, where I was able to like drop items in to a grid, but then I can't, you know, I can't place them like so. I can move them around. Yeah, you can see here, obviously this is broke now. This isn't happy. And I think the reason is because it's got something inside of it. Nope, that wasn't the reason. And now I can't drop anything into here. So there's bugs with this. And I would love to get this working and clean it up a bit. So some of this stuff is working, but some of the stuff is just definitely not working. So it might be cool to finish off this jigsaw inventory. Or I might jump over and do some replicated gameplay for the UE5.6 templates. But in the meantime, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining. Hit like, subscribe, jump onto our Discord. It's where we take the requests. We've also got a Twitter account you can follow and various other places. Soon I'll have games up. Don't know when that's going to happen, but we will start making some video games. So we'll explore the full process, full SKU game development, start to finish at some point. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be fun. Cheers.